One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Every person is guilty of this mistake at one time or another. This is a story of how thought without persistence can lead to failure. R.U. Darby, who later became one of the most successful insurance salesmen in the country, tells the story of his uncle, who was caught by the gold fever in the gold rush days and went west to dig and grow rich. He had never heard that more gold has been mined from the brains of men than has ever been taken from the earth. He staked a claim and went to work with pick and shovel. His thought was certainly definite, purposeful, and driven by a burning desire. A lust for gold thought without persistence often leads to failure. After weeks of labor, he was rewarded by the discovery of the shining ore. He needed machinery to bring the ore to the surface. Quietly, he covered up the mine, retraced his footsteps to his home in Williamsburg, Maryland, and told his relatives for the needed machinery and had it shipped. The uncle and a few neighbors of the strike, they got together money. Darby went back to work the mine. The first car of ore was mined and shipped to a smelter. The returns proved they had one of the richest mines in Colorado. A few more cars of that ore would clear the debts. Then would come the big killing in profits. Down went the drills. Up went the hopes of Darby and his uncle. Then something happened. The vein of gold ore disappeared. They had come to the end of the rainbow and the pot of gold was nowhere to be found. They drilled on desperately trying to pick up the vein, all to no avail. Finally, they decided to quit. They sold the machinery to a junk man for a few $100s and took the train back home. Some junk men are dumb, but not this one. He called in a mining engineer to look at the mine and do a little calculating. The engineer advised that the project had failed because the owners were unfamiliar with fault lines. His calculations showed that the vein would be found just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped drilling. That is exactly where it was found. The junk man took millions of dollars in ore from the mine because he knew enough to seek expert counsel before giving up. The junk man had no specialized knowledge about fault lines, but he had the wisdom to hire someone who did. Long afterward, Mr. Darby recouped his loss many times over, when he made the discovery that desire can be transmuted into gold. The discovery came after he went into the business of selling life insurance. Remembering that he lost a huge fortune because he had stopped 3 feet from gold, Darby profited by the experience in his chosen work, by the simple method of saying to himself, "I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I will never stop because men say no when I ask them to buy insurance." He owes his stick-to-itiveness to the lesson he learned from quitting short of achieving his goal in the gold mining business. Before success comes to most people, they are sure to meet with much temporary defeat and, perhaps, some failure. When faced with defeat, the easiest and most logical thing to do is to quit. Persistence is the key to succeeding in the face of adversity. More than 500 of the most successful people this country has ever known claim that their greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. Failure is a trickster with a keen sense of irony and cunning. It takes great delight in tripping one when success is almost within reach. Persistence is key in foiling failure.